what else could I do to manage some of the anxiety?
You know, the breathing is essentially trying to manage the physical component of stress and anxiety, or anger for that matter. But what we would really like to do in a perfect world is also try to manage the thinking part of it. And you know, in my world, we call that cognitive therapy. You know, try to identify the errors in thinking that this young person's making, and attempting to try to teach them ways to correct those errors. You know, you're always dealing with errors in thinking about, like, spelling errors and mathematical errors. I'm always dealing with errors in thought that have nothing to do with academics, but you know, people making errors in thought that create anxiety. The important thing to remember and to try to emphasize to your students is that everyone makes these errors in thought. You know, when we talk to a young person about this, sometimes they maybe think that we're saying that they're not intelligent or something. It has nothing to do with that. It's just that some people tend to make them more often and then have a harder time self-correcting. It's essentially turning the molehill into the mountain, kind of.
Right, and the mountain, and verbally, like, I can't. And I hear that often, where it comes out. And no matter what you do to calm them, you know, sometimes this is the only strategy, I'm be honest, that I know. A pat on the back, and it's going to be okay. You can do it. But when they can't, let it go.
Your style is very soothing to these young people.
Some days.
Some days. I can imagine.
Some days.
And those pats on the back, I'm sure, mean a lot to them and help them a great deal. But sometimes you need more. Depending on the cognitive abilities of the child, you know, this can be very, very simple, or it can be more complex and almost bordering on what we would teach an adult.
Well, this is my issue when it becomes a safety issue, because it becomes almost like a fight or flight, like I have run. I'm thinking of instances where children have run out of the classroom, where I'm very worried about their safety. They're so worked up. They've gotten blown something totally out of proportion. Or maybe I have, you know, I've blown something out of proportion. I made them, you know, so worked up about something. And then it becomes a safety issue because they bolt.
Basically, when we're calmed and relaxed, we're in safety thinking mode. We're basically thinking coast is clear. When we start to get anxious, we kind of get into danger thinking. And we think the coast isn't clear, battle stations. What we're trying to do is flip the switch from danger thinking back to safety thinking.
That we call it logical,
right?
Common sense.
Yes.
Where you need to be, like, just relax and calm down.
Yes. And safety thinking and logical thinking are almost always the same thing. With young kids, it can be something as simple as, you know, kind of some reassuring self-statements. We may have them write those things down on a little note card that they could have in their desk, or they could have it taped to the top of their desk, or, you know, depending on how you know, comfortable they are with that, or how comfortable you are with that. But the bottom line is that look, depending on the circumstances, could cue that youngster to do the breathing. It may cue a different student to do their breathing and look at their safety thinking card.
What you're saying is, like, even on a 3x5 note card, I could have some thoughts that children should have. Like, I can stay in my seat. I can use my breathing.
I'm okay. I can work through this.
I can handle this.
Handle this. I don't need to leave the classroom. I can do my breathing and my safety thinking, and that's helped before. And there might even, for a given student, be a statement on the safety thinking card that says, you know, my teacher's not mad at me because she gave me the look. This is just simply the cue for me to take care of myself, or something. And the thing with all of this stuff, with the breathing, with safety thinking, or any other strategies, including the look, timing is everything. And the longer you wait to cue them, or the longer they wait following the cue to do it, the harder it's going to be for them to do.